This $303 stock has crazy potential. Nvidia chose them for its GPU chips. Nvidia is one of their largest customers to make these GPU chips. The ticker is TSM, Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing, TSMC is a company. And they just had news today as well that they're working with OpenAI and Broadcom to develop a chip for OpenAI. So they have very important, advanced, innovative, highly valued public and private companies, the most valuable in the world, as their customers. I think now is the time for TSM. So this is my idea of the best stock to buy right now. It's not financial advice, but if you like this, hit that like button.
This is Sam Putnam.
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 So here is the connection to Nvidia. TSM is Nvidia's primary partner to make these GPUs. And they also do chips for training and inference. So inference is the kind of chip that makes decisions. So you have the chips that are used to get all the information, and then the chips that use all that information to give the answers. And it's important that they have Nvidia as a customer for both, because some people say that there's more competition in this inference market. It's easier for new competitors to come into that market. So if that happens, whether it's a unicorn startup or what it is, TSM is still going to be all right because they're making these training chips as well. And here's the deal. They don't just have this Nvidia connection as well. They have this OpenAI connection as of today, according to Reuters. They're working with Broadcom as well on this project. And you have to think that them having OpenAI as their big customer, AMD is also in the mix, providing chips to OpenAI as well. But basically, this is cementing TSM in the sort of chip mafia that OpenAI seems to be the head of, along with Nvidia. They're getting chips from a lot of different makers. And if TSM does end up making a chip that is extremely important for ChatGPT, OpenAI's chief product, the consumer product with almost 1 billion monthly users, it's absolutely grown like a weed, then this is going to be a big deal. So we'll see it happening in real time here over the next few weeks, few months. We're in the middle of earnings, but you have to think that this connection with OpenAI, where they're not only training, but they're also going to be needing inference chips to give us the answers when we type a query on ChatGPT. It's clear that TSM is right at the center of this. So here we go. The need for inference chips is going to be a real one. So look, we can look at kind of where the stock is, and we can look more into this deal and the connection. But here's the deal. Like, earnings have been mixed in this Q3. Q2 earnings weren't great. TSM going sideways was actually a pretty good earnings reaction. If we really zoom out, zoom out, we see a company that is just an absolute skyrocket. But if we look in even a 5-year, whoops, that's a little zoomed in. 20-day does look does sort of show you though the risk levels. We're pretty close to this risk level that it's sort of dancing around, which is that no surprise here. That's super psychologically visible $300 risk level. So for price levels, for people trying to get the best entry, that's pretty relevant. And then on a 1-year chart, as Thinkorswim shows here, this thing has tracked the market, except it's really more like tracked Nvidia because it's up 120%. The market as a whole is only up whatever it is up 30% over the past 8 months or whatever, 6 months since those lows. So now you have to say Nvidia is gonna release earnings at the end of the month. What stocks do you want to get in, or do you want to be in, or rotate into wherever your portfolio is at right now before that? Because look, maybe you predicted that this Nvidia day was going to result in a massive move up, but I didn't predict that. I know some of the best traders in the world, investors in the world, it looks like there's some breakout potential here, but Nvidia didn't break out here. So you never know how these sort of demo days are going to go. Sure, there was a ton of big announcements, but who would have known that Google would have had $100 billion of revenue and had a massive Q3 earnings move, whereas Microsoft, so far, we'll see if this rebounds, so far has a negative reaction, and Microsoft was supposed to be the one announcing all the good news. Microsoft had the brand new announcement where they're getting 27%, give or take a percent. I don't remember the exact number. It was over a quarter of OpenAI, which is supposed to be good to have them own an equity stake that big, as opposed to just having that 50 whatever percent, 49% of the revenue agreement. Microsoft put $1 billion into OpenAI. That billion is turning into over $100 billion, and yet the still reaction goes down. This is how hard predicting earnings reactions is. Meta, who would have thought, they have had a lot of positive comments about their AI recruitings, even though they're paying hundreds of millions for researchers and their, Facebook artificial intelligence. Their packages have been, some people don't think they're super fair. So I guess the researchers have been leaving, but they've definitely been very aggressive in AI. So to see this move down, it's actually on a tax-related $15 billion payment. But still, that was not predictable to the layman or the expert. And so there's 3 companies. We'll see what happens with Amazon tomorrow. We'll see what happens with Apple tomorrow. And then we'll see what happens with Nvidia at the end of the month. But in the midst of all that turmoil, what are the companies that are investable? I think it's these semi companies that are still underpriced, in my opinion. And if we look at Broadcom, which is working with TSM, big move up already. They had a couple, they were well positioned. I mentioned them in the Discord this week, and it has been a good run for them over this all-time high. And I think TSM working with them is a good sign. I'm wrong a lot of the time, just like the best investors in the world. But what this gives you is a super clear price level, $300 to risk a few dollars and make $10 or more. So we'll see what happens. Qualcomm also having a PR about working with OpenAI. I won't open it up because these are just so detailed that it sort of loses the flow of this video. But you can see them move up here, and they have earnings coming out. You can't really, this is not viable right now, right before earnings. So I think TSM is the move. I do think the Nvidia connection is a big deal, and that little OpenAI connection today is just the cherry on top. And this chip is expected in 2026. so far. We'll see what happens. But it's a big deal, okay? And as for essentially, what else the company is up to, well, here's their biggest client. Reportedly, Apple is a quarter of their or was a couple years ago. This is also as of a couple years ago, this Nvidia revenue. But it's no surprise, these companies are all in bed with each other in the best way. And now we just have to decide which of these are the most investable at any moment. And I believe right now it's TSM. They did have a net profit for Q3 that was up 40% year over year, revenue up 30% year over year, and they raised this sort of guidance growth outlook as well. So it's all green flags, and I think it's at the best place to buy as well. So that's my idea. If you like these ideas, hit that like button. If you want to see more, hit that subscribe. And if you want to work with me, go to stockscommunity.com. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
This is Sam Putnam.
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 This is Sam Putnam.